I want to show you one other thing you can do in NotebookLM that to me, as a talk radio listener, I don't know if there's a lot of people watching this that like talk radio. I like sports talk radio. I'm going to show you something that I think is going to blow your mind that you can do in NotebookLM. I'm going to play the audio like I did before, audio overview, and I'm going to do something interesting about 30 seconds in.
Today's video is an inside look at how Jay Viggs, the AI guy, uses NotebookLM to basically manage his business in a box. And this isn't just theory, guys. We are going to show you exactly what Jay does to manage his entire business in Google NotebookLM. Everybody has a Google account, so you have access to this particular feature for free. And Jay literally takes us in and shows us how he manages the different areas of his business in little silos, little areas that are self-contained, so that he has everything he needs to create resources and manage his business from this one platform. I hope you enjoy it.
Perfect. So, and don't worry about the covering up in that corner. It's totally fine. There's no valuable content in the lower left corner except my name. Yeah, I like calling it out for what it is, right? Saying your business has a brain problem might be a little bit of a poke to you, but I really just want to dive into the fact that so many of us with AI, we well, let me do it this way. I wonder if you're watching this video, how many of you have a folder somewhere on your computer that's like it's called important, read later, or maybe it's like just browser tabs that you've had open forever and you're like, I'll get back to them, right? And then think about those folders or those tabs, like how many were made a while ago? Like when that important read later folder was created, was it created over a year ago? Like that folder's costing you money. That's why we're here. All right. So in the next 30, 40, 50 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why all that information is costing you money and what to do about it. So, what we're going to talk about, and don't worry about the timing on this. It's going to be a little bit less than that. But we're not going to build a brain in the box. I talk about this tool as like a brain in the box, right? We're not going to build the whole box today, but we are going to show you how to build it. So we're going to talk about what the problems are. We're going to then go through kind of this model, and I'm going to do a lot of demonstration, right? We're going to actually show you how to build. We're going to show you how to do it, show you what goes into this tool. And by the way, just to call it out, the tool that we're using is a tool that it's Google's tool. It's NotebookLM. And if you have a Gmail account, it doesn't cost you any money. So if you want to play along at home, notebooklm.google.com, you can do it. And then we're going to talk about some results. We're going to show you some actual things we've done with it. And then I'm going to leave you with some homework. Like I'm just going to leave you some action steps because I want everybody to build their company brain. And the reason we do this is AI requires knowledge, right? You've heard it before, garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you don't build this brain for your company, then no matter what AI you're using, you're not going to get good outputs, meaning your content's going to not be good. I mean, it's just what it is. And nobody wants that. So here's the thing, and I know I can't see your hands. I know this is a virtual presentation, but appease me here, just kind of to yourself, raise your hand if you have like 40 plus tabs open, that like in your browser that you're like, I'll get back to it later. I promise. I'll keep it open because if I close it, I'll forget about it, but I'm just going to keep it open so I'll get back to it. Right. Maybe you have Zoom or Google Meet recordings that you've actually transcribed, but they're just sitting in a folder, right? Again, we talked about the important read later folder. What about an employee handbook? If you're at a company and you've got an employee handbook, have you ever looked at it? Or if you're the boss, are your employees, have they ever looked at it? Is it collecting dust on a shelf? Is it actually physical? Um, how many gigabytes of Google Drive files can nobody find, right? And that's what we're going to kind of go through today. Because I know personally, like when I read the slide, I've often felt personally attacked, right? And you know what's crazy about that? All of this stuff is just sitting there in your ecosystem, judging you. Let that land. So here's the twist though. The problem is not that you're disorganized and your stuff is everywhere. It's something deeper than that. You don't have an information problem. And it's not about getting organized. You actually have an operating system problem because the knowledge is there. We just called it out. It's all over the place. How do we wrangle it in? And that's what I really want to talk about today is the brain in a box, right? I actually was calling this cortex for a while, and a lot of people were like, "That sounds really complicated and hard. Can you make it simpler?" And even after I showed them, they're like, "Well, it's very easy. You should make it." So, brain in a box, very simple tool methodology for turning all of your business knowledge into a 24/7 AI powered brain, but built on what you already own. So hopefully you have a free Google account or you're on a Google Workspace account. Hopefully, even more, you have files in a drive. Now, that could be OneDrive if you're a Microsoft, it could be or SharePoint. You could be Dropbox. I don't care where the files are, as long as you have them, then we'll be good. So this is what's cool about it is there's no new software subscription. Gmail accounts are free. If you don't have one at this point, it'd be really odd to me. I don't know anybody that doesn't have a Gmail account, I think, at this point, but just go get one. It's free. Um, and then the tool that we're going to use is Google's Notebook LM, which is also free. And it's built from files you already have. And I just slip my mouse and there we go. So the whole system is built on three basic pillars. And then we're going to go in and I'm going to show you what you can do. And then I'm going to show you how to do it because I think the what you can do is the most exciting part of the presentation, right? The first thing is when we're putting things into Notebook LM, and I'm going to share that screen here in just a second. Simone, I didn't think about sharing that one up front, but I'll flip it. I can do it. Or I'll upload it. Is we have to know what documents we're putting in, and we have to make sure that AI can read our documents. If you guys have ever tried to upload a PDF to Claude or ChatGPT, if it was a really nicely designed PDF, multiple columns and pictures and headers and footers, and it was really well laid out, yeah, AI hates that. AI can't read that. AI reads two columns from left to right. First column, second column, next row, so it's jumbled, right? Reads headers and footers as part of your thing. So you really want to have good, clean sources. I'm going to tell you how to do that, show you the architecture, then we're going to activate the intelligence. What I want to do right now is I'm going to pull up. So let's go share screen and let's go here. And I'm going to show y'all Notebook LM. And what I did here, this is an example of 5 of the 6 notebooks that make up this brain in a box, right? The cortex. And we have inside of these, and I'm going to go through a little bit of these when I go back to my slides in a little bit, but we like to set everything up in business silos. The only one I'm missing from this one is research. And I'm going to tell you why research isn't on here. But I believe that every business needs 6 notebooks. You need an operations notebook that keeps all of your operations items, your sales, which keeps things like transcripts, your Google Meets, your sales calls, your sales documentation, marketing, all your social marketing assets, right? Your HR cortex, employee handbooks, onboarding, policies, procedures inside your company, culture, mission, vision, right? All inside HR. The leadership cortex, or that one is your C-level, your C-suite. If you are the chief cook and bottle washer entrepreneur in your company, you are the leader, and you could just put things like your company plans, your company goals, quarterly, annually. What do those things look like? Any contracts with vendors, things that only you should see. If you're a team of one, your leadership stuff, that notebook should not be shared. It's just yours, right? And then the last one that I don't have in here for a reason is the research notebook. Research notebook is the only notebook that I would suggest you can get stuff from other places. You can search the web and bring it in. It's strictly for your research. Maybe it's competitor analysis. Maybe it's keywords for SEO. Maybe it's industry reports, white papers, things like that you want to bring in. These 5 notebooks here, I don't want you to ever search the web and pull something in from. These 5 notebooks should be just from your own documents. The cool thing about Notebook LM, everything is source grounded. I'm going to explain what source grounding means. It only knows what you feed it, right? So where ChatGPT, Claude, all the other tools that we love and use every day, all of that stuff, when you type in that chat, it's just pulling from everywhere and it's trying to synthesize the best answer it can give you, right? But it hallucinates a lot. Oh, and if you like, is this a good idea? I think this is a good idea. You know what it's going to tell you? Oh my gosh, Jay, that is the best idea anybody's ever had, right? So there's bias, right? It's not going to, unless you tell it specifically to push back, and then it's going to just say the opposite thing, right? Well, Google doesn't use your sources to train the Gemini models. I'm going to say that again. Google is not using your sources to train their models. This is private to you. As a matter of fact, if I go into a notebook, like the operations cortex here, and I click on the share button, I can only share it with people in my organization. You'll see that every single one of these people here is at jvimobile.com. This is my team. I can't share it with Simone. I can't share it with you. I can't share my notebooks outside of my organization. It's private to us. I can share it with my team. So if you're in a team that doesn't use Google Workspace and then you the point I'm going to make here is you may not need Notebook LM to do this. You may have to come up with your own hack, but I would say that you could use projects in Claude. You could use some other structure, but I would say keep your documents siloed in the way I tell you to. But really, if you have that team, the answer I think would be to move to Google Workspace. But I have told people, I've gotten the question a lot. What if we have everything in Microsoft? And I'm like, until SharePoint makes a Notebook LM competitor, I don't know what to tell you. But I will say that you could do this just as easily in like Claude projects or um, any other AI tool that you can silo out your organizations, right? So that is a tricky thing. I know it's a question I always get asked. Um, but again, free. And if you're a small team, what I'm gonna show you today, you can share your outputs with somebody. So even if you're the only one using it, I'm gonna show you how powerful this is. All right. So the first thing to do, real simple, you create a notebook. I'm not gonna do it because I've already got notebooks created, but I want to show you the power of what this can output, just so I can kind of wet your whistle and keep you engaged when I go back to my slides, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to make them. Right. But what if actually, I'm in the wrong notebook here for what I want to do here. I think I put it in the, let me double check. Hang on. The sales, or was it operations? Yes. Okay. I was. Okay. So what if in your operations notebook, you had, this is in the wrong place, an employee handbook. Okay. I probably would have put this in HR, but let's just say your employee handbook was in the operations cortex because it doesn't really matter for purposes of demonstration. What if you could give a new hire, a new employee, instead of giving them this book where they're going to brush the dust off it, or right? Let's instead just give them a slideshow, right? Here's your playbook from a document in a slideshow that you can look at real quick. What if you could give it to them in a video that plays? What if you could give it to them in an audio format that they can listen to on their way into work for the first couple of days, right? With Notebook LM, you can. So it gives you a multi-sensory way to absorb and ingest and understand everything about the company. And it does it really well. This is all generated with AI. No Canva was required here, right? No Photoshop, no insert, no Microsoft Paint, right? Anybody still using that? I've resized images with it. Right? This is all AI generated, and it uses Gemini, which if you guys are familiar with Gemini, their image creation tool, which has got the greatest name in the world. Anybody heard of Nano Banana? It is the coolest code name ever. They're actually on Nano Banana 2 or Pro now. But Google calls their image creation tool Nano Banana. And I just love saying it. So I might say it more times on this call. Um, but it's great. And do you remember if you've been using AI for more than 6 months, do you remember 6 months ago or 9 months ago when you tried to create an image with AI, you might have like more fingers than there should have been, or a melty face, or what if you tried to put words, a text overlay on your image? Anybody remember the Russian hieroglyphics you got? Yeah, I know I'm not the only one. Yeah, look at this. All of this done in minutes. Minutes, less than 5 minutes. It took to take a document and synthesize this, and I might find an error or two in the text somewhere in here, but I'm flipping through and I'm not seeing it, right? What if I could say, "Hey, let's listen to this."
Okay, so imagine you're standing on a loading dock down in Galveston, Texas. It is 100 degrees outside. You've got steel-toed boots on, and you're just surrounded by heavy machinery moving, hazardous material.
Oh, yeah. Sweaty, loud, intense.
Exactly. And your daily reality in that environment, it isn't primarily governed by federal laws or
Okay, that sounded like two NPR broadcasters like having a really in-depth conversation, right? 5 minutes, AI generated, took my document, did the whole thing. So are you starting to see the power of what we can do inside of this tool for our business to grow our team, to scale, to onboard faster, to roll things out much quicker? I actually did a workshop this morning and it was on like this assembly line that my team uses to create content, right? And we use like a group of tools from Perplexity, NotebookLM, Claude, and Gemini. And what I was able to show was that when you get into Notebook LM, you can create so many pieces of content from one piece of content, like unlimited pieces. I mean, I could show you 6, but you could turn that into 100 in minutes, right? So you can create audio overviews, which are great. If you want to launch a podcast, just do audio overviews, pull in some content, do audio overviews, put them out as a podcast, put them on your website, give them to employees. Video overviews, upload them to YouTube, put them on your website, like put them on social media. You can also create slide decks, mind maps, reports, flashcards, quizzes, infographics, and data tables from your sources. Okay, so are you getting some of the picture here? I hope you are. I'm going to show you one more thing.
I absolutely love this, Jay. I think it would be also really good, like if you were someone who like has a VA that's in a different country, and sometimes there's that language barrier, or sometimes different people in different countries might not be as comfortable with video or whatever. You've now got a tool that will let you explain something in 7 different ways, so that whichever way suits them, they will be able to like take that in. Or for example, if you have setters and closers in your business, like doing your sales component, you now have multiple ways to make scripts for them, or you could potentially like review what they do on their calls, or like if you've got client work, you can like literally change things for the client however they want it. Like I just see this as huge for people in the business space.
Absolutely beautiful, Simone. Thank you so much for that. One of the things I was going to say, and it's on my slide deck, is the sales aspect of that. And I do want to touch on the VA part too, because I do have VAs in the Philippines. I now call them um, oh gosh, what did I call them? Remote team. Oh no, anyway, yeah, I have VAs, right? Remote team members, RTMs, remote team members. Um, but here's the thing. Think about it this way. If you're top salesperson in your company, if you record some of their Zoom calls, right? And you upload those into here, and now you hire that new salesperson, they could literally type in here. Where is my sales one? I think I already have this actually. Objection handling. Like, what would Joe say? I say to someone with an objection, right? the top objection. I'm not sure what the objections are here in the guide, right? But you could say, what would Joe say in this case, right? And let's see, Simone, you still there? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I lost your picture in the thing, but here you go. So like, it even said like in real time, I could be on that call like you were talking about, and maybe I could say, well, when a customer says this, here's acknowledge the point. So, oh, I appreciate you sharing that. Can I ask, is that comparison like there's your sales training? What would our top salesperson say? Well, if the top salesperson was putting his transcripts and his knowledge into this notebook, now all the new sales team would have to do is just query his brain and they don't have to go ask him. He can still be out doing what he does. So I agree. And on the remote side, the VAs, I go one step further, even in their way to learn, and I agree. Some people learn auditory, some people are better visually. I don't love to read, so I would much rather watch a video or listen to something. Um, I actually gave my team like the sources and I say, go create content for me. And they load it into Notebook LM and they start building content constantly. So it's a good way to delegate tasks as well. So very, very good concept there. So I'm going to come back to Notebook LM. Now that you know a little bit about what it does, the rest of this presentation will make a whole lot more sense. And then we'll come back and I'll show you some other cool things. So let me flip back.
Yeah, this is so exciting. Like, I think it's so interesting that this is just stuff that we already have access to. And most people have probably got their like team stuff loaded into, say, Google Drive anyway.
Yeah,
And
of
now it's
course.
kind of like just supercharging what's already there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah, when I first saw Notebook LM a couple years ago, I think it was, it doesn't matter when it was about a year and a half ago, I suppose. And, I knew, like, I saw it from the beginning. I was like, this is revolutionary. And at the time, I mean, and still, it was all about like AI is only as good as its knowledge base, right? So I was like, this is a way to build the knowledge base, but then to be able to turn it into the podcast thing just blew my mind. That was the first thing. But but over time, what it's grown into has become a behemoth. And I agree. There is nothing better. And I take stuff from Notebook LM and I port it to Claude. I port it to Gemini all the time. And actually, now Gemini has a direct Notebook LM integration. So if you use Gemini, you can actually say, use my notebook to get the sources, build this image, right? So you can actually, there's direct integrations with Gemini uh, and Notebook LM that make using the AI even better because you're using your notebooks as your company brain. So here's the one thing I want to say. So we've identified 30 expensive problems that we can solve in this system. However, and I'm going to give this to you as an attendee of this as the summit. I'll make sure, Simone, you get it, or we can send it out to everybody. I also just released a brand new, we'll call it a lead magnet for lack of a better word. It's a really nicely done PDF. I'll give it to everyone. But we also did 101 uses for Notebook LM. I just put it out, right? Like 2 days ago. So I'll make sure everybody can get that, or you'll help me do that. But really, we've got 30 problems that we've identified that Notebook LM definitely fixes with this silo. Now I'm going to come back to talk about, I keep saying the word silo of the notebooks, and I want to tell you why. But think about this. What if you have an attorney on retainer, right? Or somebody that you'd use in case you have a big contract. And what if that attorney charges $1,000 an hour, right? Well, let's say you have this contract and you know that it's 70 pages and the attorney's going to charge 3 hours, right? I don't know if it's $1,000 or $3,000, or even if it was $500, right? For the attorney. What if you could have Notebook LM, you load the contract into there and say, hey, can you review it for potential conflicts and discrepancies? Just review it, right? And then you go to the attorney and say, hey, can you just take a look at these things for me and cut your time in half, right? because they don't have to read the whole thing. Say, hey, I really just want you to focus on these clauses on page 23, 47, and 52, right? Now you're saving time and a lot of money. What about that meeting amnesia and the action items? Upload those transcripts. When you're getting ready to do a call, what did we talk about on the last call? Now, Fathom, Otter, these note takers, they do that, but too many times we don't go back and read those. But if they were in this notebook and you could just query it, you have all that info right there. We actually upload every transcript from our weekly webinars that we do on Fridays. We upload the transcript every week. So I can always say, what did I talk about in this workshop? Or if somebody has a question, I can just ask it. It's my answer engine. Notebook LM is really an answer engine and a content producer. Um, let's see, strategy and research. You can do in that research document. I showed you the 5 notebooks, the research document. You can pull things in from the web. So maybe you want to do deep research or take some tabs that you found online, those 47 tabs that are open. Just take the tabs and just load those web pages into a notebook. And now you don't have to keep the tab open, right? And you can just query it. Up to 600 sources in a notebook. You can, your content, we showed you a little bit. We're going to go back to the 6-in-1 content multiplication, turning your documents into a podcast, asking for viral YouTube titles from this to make videos. And then the HR side, your handbook now is a chatbot, right? No more collecting dust printed out. You can also do quizzes. You can do flashcards, reports. I love the fact that you can give somebody an audio file and let them just train in the car, right? Or in the truck on the way to a job. Okay, so I want to talk about kind of the silos about the brain in a box. Okay, so I've shown you the way we've set that up. That we have the 6 notebooks, and there's a reason that the 6 notebooks matters. Every brain, and this is where I keep going to silos. Every brain needs to stay focused. Okay, so if you dump everything into one notebook, which is another question I get all the time, well, why don't I just build my one big jumbo knowledge base, my one big brain, right? Well, think about this. If you do that, and you could, right? Nothing's going to stop you. You could definitely do that. What if your AI starts mixing your sales playbook with your HR policies and starts giving you strange, unreliable answers? I'm going to go even deeper. In your HR, so the word termination, let's just take the word termination. Well, in an HR sense, that's typically going to be the letting go, firing of a person, contractor, employee. They're terminated, right? Well, in an operations sense, that could be a contract that has a termination clause or a
Yeah.
termination, right? You don't want that intermingled. So you keep those separate. So that's why I keep it siloed. There was a real method to why 6 notebooks, right? And why these. And the reason for these is these really are the departments that even if you're in a 1-person organization, you're going to have things that you're doing that have a little bit of, or even if it's one notebook or one document, one source in each notebook, you're going to have these 6 notebooks. Every business is going to have these 6, which is why I did it. So now each brain becomes an expert in its domain, right? So now you have your chief human resources officer, your sales officer, your chief COO, right? Your CMO, I don't know what a research person would be, but it's your research person, right? And then your leadership team, your C-suite, your other C-suites. So the one thing I'll also say is don't try to go out today and build every notebook and put all your documents in there. The homework that I'm going to be giving you is start with your most painful department. Where do you have a lot of content that's just sitting collecting dust? What's that pain point in your business? What system is it that you really just want to get figured out? Create the one notebook and put your first document in there, and then you'll see how easy it is and start playing with it, and then you'll get hooked. I promise. I had somebody, when I did a presentation last month in Arkansas, I had somebody come up to me literally beaming with excitement because she left the event, went back to her hotel that night, and she started building her first notebook, put her first source in, and started creating content in her marketing notebook. And she came back and she's like, "Oh my God, Jay, blah, 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 blah," and we hugged it out. It was great. It was wonderful. I loved it. So use it, right? So start with one. So here you go. What do I put in each notebook? Right? Usually the next question. Here's a good thing. If you want to take screenshots, that's fine while you're watching. I'll go through them real fast, and I'll do probably half of them. But your employee handbook goes in your HR brain. Onboarding checklists and procedures for a new employee, new team member. Benefits. You offer benefits, great. Paid time off, performance review, all the job descriptions for all the roles, right? Interview guides, compliance, org chart, remote work policies, right? That's a big one these days, right? And then when you load all of that in, now you can go into the chat and you can ask some of these questions. Create a quiz from our compliance training, right? Create an audio training for our safety protocols and then make the team listen to it, right? Put it on your you don't even have to put it on your intranet. Just share the stuff with them. You can share the outputs. You can't share the notebooks unless they're in your org. Then you can share the notebooks. But you can share the outputs with anybody, right? That's why this makes good social content. All right. So the handbook problem is the big win for this one. Too many people have like that 50-page handbook that nobody looks at. And then what they do is they go back and they'll ask their manager the same question, 26 times in the first month because they couldn't remember, instead of just going to the notebook and chat or listening to the audio and not having to bother anybody with the same question a million times. Sales notebook. We talked about this briefly. Here's the scenario, right? It's 8:45 in the morning. Not right now, but it's 8:45 in the morning and your sales rep has a call at 9. They need to know how you stack up against the competitor that the prospect just mentioned recently. The old way, 20 minutes digging through emails, Google Doc from a year and a half ago, a competitor page. They think they remember where it was, objections they know that they're going to have to overcome. And we talked about it, right? Now you can go into your notebook if you have these things in your sales notebook and you could say, build me a competitive briefing against competitor for today's call. They'll get a specific briefing in seconds with your own case studies and everything, literally in less than a minute. And if you have those call transcripts from your sales, it's actually, whoops, I keep doing that. Let me go back a slide. The sales call transcripts by your top salespeople, that will help the newer salespeople become better and everybody wins, right? All right, couple more. Operations, SOPs. It's a big one. It's so big, everybody always asks, I don't have my SOPs. What do I put in my operation handbook? And I'm like, well, there's a bunch of other things, but a lot of businesses don't have their processes documented, so much so that if you're watching this today, I'm trying to future cast myself. If you're watching this today, we will likely have some type of beta invite for you. I have actually built out an entire knowledge extraction system. It's a software, it's a web app that I haven't even opened for public access yet. It's in beta. But it works. And I can actually jump on a Google Meet with someone, interview them, and we get all of their entire knowledge documents just converted right in real time. So think of it as like Scribe and Guide meets Awesome, right? And that's what the Cortex app is. When you're watching this, if you want to know, you can contact me and I'll show it to you. It's not for sale yet, so I'll just have to show it to you. And let you maybe build out a document, right? But SOPs are huge. Contracts, vendor agreements, meeting transcripts and recordings, again, with your existing clients. Those all go in operations. Marketing. That's the easy one, right? I read a study today that like the number one thing businesses are using AI for, marketing, right? It's like 52% of businesses are using AI for marketing. You put in all of your website, your blogs, your social media, your SEO, the keywords, email templates, everything. NotebookLM can turn it into tons of different formats and give you some really great ideas of what to do with your knowledge. Research, again, this is the only one that I said you could search the web for. The rest, I think, should be grounded in your own sources. And when you search the web, make sure that those citations and those articles that you're keeping in the research notebook, make sure that they're relevant, accurate, and true, because the last thing you want to do is put stuff out that's not right. I'm always very hesitant to add sources from the web into my notebooks. But the research one, it's okay because you're going to need to get, different forecasts, economic forecast trends, competitor intelligence, things like that. And you can put that in your research notebook. And then if you know some good stuff, then maybe you can move some of that to sales after you've queried it. And then finally, what goes in leadership? Planning, strategy, vision, mission, values, KPI tracking, um, any assessments, lessons learned, right? So put all that in your leadership. Now, one last thing here before we can have some questions. I'm pretty much wrapping up. Um, think about this. Think about this. And I want to go back into Notebook LM, wrapping up with the slides. What I meant. Um, let's look at this slide. That new employee 847 has a question about PTO rollover, right? They go to the HR notebook and they have the answer in 30 seconds. You, as the leader of the company, nobody bothered you, nobody interrupted you, right? That sales rep goes into that competitive pitch at 9 a.m. with that briefing that we talked about, right? And now they're 10 feet tall and bulletproof, man. They're going in there and they're going to crush it, right? The operations manager, 70-page vendor contract, uploaded right in, list of conflicting causes in 10 minutes, boom, send it off to the attorney. That attorney bill is cut in half. I'm not saying that Notebook LM should replace an attorney. No, 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 no. Do not use this for legal. Use it to review things so that you can find discrepancies, clauses, and things that need to be reviewed, and then send that to the real person that does deserve to get $1,000 an hour, but now you're only giving them 30 minutes instead of the hour, right? So that's what it'll do right away. There's not a lot more here. So let's go back over to Notebook LM. Are we doing good still on time?
Yeah, this is
Okay,
great. It's so interesting. I'm really interested to see how you actually build it. Like, what does it
perfect.
actually look like?
All right, cool. So let's go back into here. All right. Now, the way when you go into the notebook, and I'm going to show you how easy and how cool this is. And you're getting the benefit because there's so many new features and updates, and it's getting updated. And you see it in the AI race, right? Like ChatGPT comes out with something and it's now the best. And you get like this wave of people back here, and then Claude does something, and then Gemini does something. And it's like this AI arms race every day. Well, Google, of course, is not resting on their laurels. They're actually trying to take out everyone. So Notebook LM is getting updated all the time. So what you would do when you create a notebook and you want to add a source, right? I talked about sources. I showed you lists of sources that you can put on there. You have some options. You can upload files from your computer. So all that documents that are already there, you can upload them in. Again, you can pull websites, YouTube videos, links, you can just paste your links in here. Again, I frown upon external links unless it's your research notebook. Unless maybe it's your website, you could do that, right? But you can upload links here and it'll go and scrape them and pull the content from it. Google Drive. This is probably my favorite one. If you have Google Drive, you can actually connect and you can pull files from Google Drive, right? And then it's connected to that file in Google Drive. Well, guess what happens when you update that file? Your notebook's updated, right? So I like Google Drive probably the best. And then the last one is, this is the one I use the most though, copied text. If I have like markdown file, or I have text that maybe it's an output that Claude gave me in a strategy that I'm doing, I still use Claude for a lot of strategy and development work. I'll sometimes just copy that answer if I like it, and I'll put it in. I'll be like, yeah, this is good. I need this in my marketing, right? So I'll take stuff from there. And so copied text and Drive are probably my two favorites. Right? But that's all you do. And then it'll create a source over here. Sometimes people say, what if I get a source and I don't like it, right? Well, you can click these three little dots and you can remove it. You can also rename your sources. Now here's a new button that was not here at 8 a.m. this morning. Okay. I'm telling you this because this is the first time I've seen it. This button right here says auto label sources by topic. I'm afraid to click it. I don't know what's gonna do. Actually, you know what? I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid. Let's do it. This is a new thing. Look at that. Look at that. What documents do I have in my customer success, my pricing and fine? Look at that. Very cool. Look, I
Wow.
learned something real a new time. Now it can organize your documents. So not only can it read them, now it knows what category it should be in. Very, very cool. Because when you go to create your sources in the studio on the right-hand side, you don't have to build things off of every source. You can unselect and say, maybe I want to do the customer testimonials and case studies in customer success. So let's just turn those on, right? So I guess if you had all these minimized, right, I could say I want to build an infographic just on pricing and finance or the product details, right? So then you can choose and select what you want to do over here or what you want the rest of Notebook LM to do. What I mean by that, let's say we do customer success and then we say here's the answer engine. I told you it was an answer engine and a content producer. The answer engine is this big middle window here that says chat, right? So let's just say break down the top um, aspect of this case study and our best customer testimonial. Right now, it's only going to use these two sources that I've highlighted here. And I'm going to get the answer here. It's going to be very, very quick. Isn't it funny how in the world of AI now, if something takes 10 seconds, you're like, what is wrong? Why is it taking forever? Good, good, good internet and fast answers are making us all really, really spoiled.
Yes,
I-
but I remember back in the day when it took like 4 minutes for the computer to even turn on, like in
yeah,
the back
yeah.
in dial-up days.
Or the image to load and you're like waiting there through pixelation and you're like, what is it? Yeah. So so anyway, critical takeaways. The top aspect of the port delays case study. Information latency is expensive, blah, 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 right? The defining success of the study recovered 380,000 in direct savings and reduced port detention costs by 41% in 90 days, right? Ocean Supply is the only distributor we work with that actually knows our operation, right? So I've got this document or this answer, right? I can create an infographic based on everything that is in these two sources, right? If I create an infographic, it's going to say it's going to say two sources. Here it says one source, two sources. But this is one of the coolest features. If you ask it a specific question, and then you're like, yes, I don't want to build an infographic on everything that's in there. I just want to build it on this piece of it, this little piece that the answer engine gave me. What you do is you can come down here and you have the ability to copy the whole answer, but you can save it to a note. If you save it to a note, it's going to show up in the studio on the right-hand side right here, generating note, efficiency at sea. Now it's not even just using the whole source, just using what I queried it. Now, if I click over here, I can convert that answer to its own source, right? I can convert all my notes to a source, but I'm going to convert that note to a source. It's going to show up over here on the left in a markdown file, efficiency at sea. Now, if I just leave that checked, I'm going to build an infographic on just the top testimonial and the top case study. But not only that, you see these arrows, these little caret arrow symbols to the right? When I go in here, I can now pick the style of visual I want for my infographic. I can pick the orientation of it, the language that I want it in. I can choose if I want it to be very, very detailed or if I want it to be very, very concise. And I can describe the style, the color, the focus. Now, there is a really great tip. I want to say that I came up with it, and Jonathan, my friend Jonathan Mast, wants to say he came up with it. I will give him the credit just because I don't really know. I think we both kind of had the idea and then We both were sharing it, but I love him. Um, here's another thing that you can do. This is kind of a pro hack for this whole system. In every notebook that you have, all 6 of your notebooks, take your style guide and upload that source. Your brand colors, your logo, your whatever you have, upload it in, and then when you're creating notebooks, make that one of the first documents you put in. So that and use that as a source when you're creating things. Okay? So you can also though, you can say I want this to be, teal and black um and um sans serif fonts, right? And then I can say we'll do this let's find a good one. We'll make the infographic an editorial, right? And then we just generate and it's going to do it just on that note. And you'll see over here on the right where it's spinning, it's going to do it probably in about a minute. So while that's doing its thing, I'm going to show you the other outputs that you can do. I've showed you how to get sources loaded in, shown you the notebooks, shown you the chat, showed you how to turn chats into sources. Now I'm going to just give you a little bit of a walkthrough through the different outputs you can get. And remember, anything you create in the outputs is what you can share publicly. Share it with a friend, put it in your email, put it in your blog, put it on social media, whatever content you need. Again, free, guys, free, and very easy to train somebody on how to use this, right? So use this to grow your business. I think this is the most indispensable tool, which obviously is why I've created an entire framework around it. But here we go. Audio overview. You can do a deep dive, which is what I played for you before. 2 hosts having a very fun conversation. My daughter, she's learning the solar system at school right now. I created this and we listened to it in the car on the way to school the other day for her quiz. It was like a deep dive. And I said, explain it in a fun way that a 10-year-old would really like. And boom, it was done. Great to use it personally too, right? You can also have it brief. You can do a critique. You can do a debate style. Be careful with critique. I actually gave it my website and I said, hey, I need to know what I should change on the website. And then I spent 21 minutes listening to these 2 made up AI people rip me to shreds. It was not comfortable. I didn't like the people after I did it. So be careful with critique, but it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I say it in jest. It was really, really good. They actually went through everything and told me all the things that need to be changed and where I was missing the connection, and my readers and viewers were not going to see the connection, right, that I was trying to make there. You can make it a little bit shorter or longer. Default is between 20 and 25 minutes. Okay. On the deep dive. Okay. You can also tell them what you want to focus on, and Google will give you randomized tips. You see, it's auto scrolling, like how maybe you want to structure the discussion or highlight this aspect. And these are all related to the documents that are in there, right? And then you can just click generate. So it's very easy. The customize of a slide deck, also very similar, detailed, or do you want key talking points included? What language? Short, regular, long. Default is usually around 10 slides. And then you can talk about what you want there. Give it a good description, right? Here's one that I want to talk about for a second. The video overviews, and I'm going to show you one. That's how I'm going to end my presentation with a video, right? But there is this mode that you're going to see in mine that you may not see in yours. Okay. Cinematic is a new feature. I am on the crazy psycho plan of Google, Ultra for AI Ultra, which I heard is going away, but they're still giving me some stuff. Cinematic is only available if you're spending too much money with Google. All right. So I got it, but I don't think it's really that much better than what they gave us in the first place. Okay. It says rich immersive experience. I didn't get a Hollywood production on a case study. I don't know. I wanted that, but I didn't get it. Anyway, explainers, briefs, very good. How do you want it to be customized? And they even give you some things you can, some suggestions. Okay. And I'm going to show you a video in just a second. Mind maps are fun. It pulls all your sources and then you can click on them. I don't think well, now I'm generating one. I actually think I did do a mind map, But you can click on it and it shows you how all of your sources are connected and you can drill down and then it gives you the citations of where it found it. If you notice all of the chat things here, 8, 9, 12, 13. Oh, there was a 10 and 11 there, 15. If you click on these, it gives you the citations of where it got the information and the answers, which is another reason I like the source grounding, right? It's not just making something up. It's like, no, hey, don't believe me? View the source. This is where I pulled it from, right? The only chat tool that does that besides inside of here is Perplexity. If you've ever used it and you search something, it will give you the sources that it pulled the information from. All right.
I'd love to
Reports.
ask, Jay, if you had a
Sure, go for
business,
it.
yeah, like if you had a business that was, say, I don't know, 7 to 10 years old or older, at this point in time, you have so many files, right?
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
like the idea of uploading them all into the separate silos, so you've got them there, but do you
Yep.
think uploading, 5 to 7 or 10 years worth of stuff into this is a good thing or a bad thing? Like, how would that be on, say, space and, like, all of that sort of stuff? Or would you make sure what you're uploading is more of stuff we're gonna use from now forward?
Yeah, you want stuff that's evergreen. That would be the best answer. If it, 5, 7, 10 years ago may not be as relevant anymore, especially if it's been collecting dust. It's like, are you really using this? Right? Um, Now, if your mission, vision, and values have not changed in 10 years, they're still good. You're still using them to today, and you have that document or image that shows them off, right? Or your logo is still good, or your standard playbook for one particular thing. Yeah, take it. But I would not go try to dump an entire Google Drive of 400 sources and most of them outdated at all. So keep it evergreen. That's my answer.
Okay, I love that.
Great. That's a great question. Yeah, yeah. Definitely don't just go, what's it like when you over talk, you're like diarrhea of the mouth or something, right? Isn't that what they say or something like that? Like you don't want diarrhea of your Google Drive in there, right?
Yeah.
It's not nobody no, that's not gonna help. That's gonna be help. That was a terrible analogy. I apologize. But maybe it was a good analogy. I don't know. The reports. This is one of the things we do in our content assembly. When we load a bunch of content in and we need to create social or uh, blog, email, any type of content marketing documents, a lot of times we'll use a briefing doc and we'll say, just create a briefing doc of all my sources. And then I'll take that over to Claude and I'll have Claude create social media posts, right? Like the copy. You can do that in here too. You can say create 5 Facebook posts, for me, and it will do it. I just find that Claude knows my style better and I think is a better writing tool overall. Again, free. Did a workshop this morning on, how we use Perplexity, NotebookLM, Claude, and Gemini to make a content assembly line. And we talked about the briefing doc, but you can do all sorts of reports. And they'll give you suggestions based on what's in your sources as well. Like if these 4 things in the bottom here, they won't be in your sources unless you have a ocean supply manufacturing company. Um, Flashcards, fun. Flashcards are great. They're just like flashcards as a kid. It creates flashcards. Quizzes, you can do quizzes. I don't know if I have those. Here, I'll show you the mind map real quick because that's done and generated. So here's the big topic, efficiency at sea. Well, let's learn more about reliability. Oops, I clicked the wrong.
Wow.
Yep. And then I can say, oh, stock out prevention. Okay, 0 critical stockouts in 3 years, avoided 20K. Here, let's look at avoided this. So you can drill all the way down. It shows you how everything's related, and then it opens it up in chat to get more details about
Yeah.
those sources. So mind mapping is fun. Quizzes are like flashcards. So you can actually generate a quiz, easy difficulty, a lot of questions, how many questions, what's the sources, um, and it'll make a quiz for you. But again, more for your workspace, not so much for you. I tried to share a quiz, and again, you have to open it. But here's the thing you can do: you can take a quiz and then you can create a quiz with a tool like Go High Level, right? And then inside your system, and then you have the questions already created for you. You just have to build out the quiz. Um,
Yep.
or and like I'm not bragging on High Level or anything. I don't just use it every single minute of my active life when I'm not in Notebook LM. Um, or take the quiz, go into the new AI studio builder and have that build you the quiz while you check your email or go to the bathroom, and it will build it out perfectly. It's amazing, an amazing tool. Um,
Awesome.
Infographics and data table. Data table will take all your sources and figure out a way to organize it in tables and columns, which is another way people like to read and analyze things. So, two last things. I'm going to show you. I believe the infographic is done. I'm going to refresh my screen because it's been spinning a long time. I think it's done. Yeah. So, here is the infographic I did before, right?
Wow, that's great.
And it was just off of that one question that I asked, that note that I saved, right? So it talks about the case study from data silos to rapid decisions, 80% reduction, blah, blah, blah. And then here was the 0 critical stockouts in 3 years, the quote. So it just took those things and it builds you this in the style I asked it for. And if you remember, I said teal and that
Yeah.
professional style, and it did it, right? So now I want to show you one last thing because I think this is audio is great for training somebody, infographics great for social, everything else, but one thing that everybody consumes the most of in online is video, right? We're on YouTube. We like to, there's Vimeo, there's YouTube. We're learning things on YouTube. We're sharing videos. People are sharing. TikTok is the biggest thing in the world. It's all video, right? Video, video, video. 9-minute video on this
Goodness.
company.
Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're opening up a truly fascinating internal document. We are looking directly at the Ocean Supply Company's Sales Objection Handling Guide, specifically version 1.3 from March 2024. But here's the thing, we aren't just reading some dry corporate manual today. What we actually have here is an absolute masterclass in the psychology of consultative selling. If you've ever been in a high-stakes B2B negotiation, or honestly, if you just want to understand the intricate dance of how businesses sell to other businesses, this explainer is going to completely change how you view a simple no. As you'll see, we're going to systematically dismantle every major sales hurdle.
Okay, let's dive into this roadmap. We're going to look at 5 key areas today. First, the anatomy.
By the way, this is a masterclass in B2B selling from just some sample documents. It's actually really good 9-minute video, but it will go through and it will explain it. And the narrator's great. You know, it's going to change slides pretty quickly, and just talk about that selling from the sales documentation. But there's one last thing, Simone. I thought that would be a good way to end it, but I think I have one better way to end this. I have one better way. All right. I want to show you guys something. I talked to you about the audio files earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did love that video in the way that even the person speaking, like the narrator, changed. I
Yes.
thought that made it just like it kind of elevated it, that it wasn't the same voice the whole way through.
They do a lot of like interruption stuff to keep you engaged. It's very, very cool. I want to show you one other thing you can do in NotebookLM that, to me, as a talk radio listener, I don't know if there's a lot of people watching this that like talk radio. I like sports talk radio. My daughter hates it. She'd rather listen to Kids Bop, and guess what? She wins most of the time. But I'm going to show you something that I think is going to blow your mind that you can do in NotebookLM. All right. I'm going to play the audio like I did before, audio overview. And I'm going to do something interesting about 30 seconds in.
Okay, so imagine you're standing on a loading dock down in Galveston, Texas. It is 100 degrees outside, you've got steel-toed boots on, and you're just surrounded by heavy machinery moving, hazardous materials.
Oh, yeah. Sweaty, loud, intense.
Exactly. And your daily reality in that environment, it isn't primarily
click this
governed
button.
by federal laws or like state statutes. It's actually governed down. Oh, our listeners got something to share. Let's hear it.
Oh, hey, I guess I'm on. Yeah, so I know that in one of the sources we're talking about a case study. Can you just briefly, before you continue with everything else, just go through kind of like the top 2 or 3 coolest things about that case study for me?
We are so glad you chimed in.
Yeah, thanks for joining the conversation.
That case study is actually a perfect real world example of what happens when these rules click.
It really is. One of the coolest things is the sheer scale of the recovery,
Right? They saved $380,000 in just 90 days.
all by fixing their data silos and documentation.
Another highlight is how they slashed port detention costs by four.
Okay, so when they finish answering my question for me, they will just continue on explaining the whole thing. So you now have an interactive way to learn from these AI hosts. You can just be like, "Oh wait, I didn't catch that," or "Oh, wait a minute, but that didn't make sense to me," or "Wait," and you can just ask, and you ask and you shall receive. So, you know, this is more than a novelty. This is business intelligence and an answer engine, a content creator, an interactive way to learn. There are so many applications of using Notebook LM in business. The thing that drives me crazy, we see it all the time, and I'm sure you're no different. We find that a lot of business owners, they go and they try ChatGPT or something. They ask it some questions and like, oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. That's cute. Let me get back to work. And they go do what they've always done. Right. I am fighting that. Like the gloves are off. I am bringing stuff like this to business owners because I know this is easy. This is free. You have no excuses. It's simple and it will get, yeah, I know, I don't know how to make content. I don't know how to, organize my documents, this and that. Like, guys, implementation. Everything I teach is how do we actually use AI? And I can't think of anything easier. There's lots of ways. I could go talk about agents and voice agents and conversational AI, and I could talk about all of it. We use all of it. But for the average person, the average business owner trying to get into AI, what better tool to use to help you grow your business and to help you grow your team and to scale than Notebook LM? So thank you so much for that. And definitely, Simone, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I loved that. So it seems to me like you can literally just set this up to literally help you with every aspect of your business. Like we're talking presentations, we're talking slides, obviously we're talking training resources. How do you find the quality is when you do your social media stuff? Is it the sort of stuff that you can share straight to socials?
100%. Yeah, no, it's amazing. I showed you the infographics and, you know, N I would say 90 times out of 100, your text and everything is gonna be perfect. It's gonna be on brand. It's AI, it will make mistakes, but it's very consistently good. Um, I think that the we share a lot of the videos that it generated, those explainer videos. We share a lot of those on TikTok and YouTube. Like, they're going up on TikTok all the time, and they get good engagement. I don't have a huge TikTok following, but, 200-300 views in the first 2-3 days to me on I only have 700 followers on TikTok because it's not my number one channel. I'll take it. Right. So I think the quality of the content, again, I'm going to go back to this though. My answer would be, I say it, garbage in, garbage out, garbage in, hallucination out. If you use Notebook LM to generate these sources, you can you kind of control that narrative. You control the source, but the quality, the quality is the quality that you have in there, right? So if you want garbage, put garbage sources. If you've had a company for 10 years and you go throw in a bunch of old stale documents like we talked about, then yeah, the content's not going to be relevant anymore. The other thing to be careful of is if you're searching and pulling from the web, and remember, only the research notebook, right? And then make sure that you got good sources. But if you're pulling from there and then you're trying to turn that into content, make sure it's accurate, right? Make sure you're not saying something that you shouldn't. We like to use when we do it. The strategy that we taught, the kind of the hack that we were doing this morning, Perplexity for searching online and pulling in current real news topics. A lot of times I'll get like something new that Google's done or Gemini or Claude. We'll get that information and we'll synthesize it through Notebook LM into Claude, back into Gemini for some images, and we use the Notebook LM videos. and we put it out onto social. So I think the content is phenomenal, and so many people have a hard time coming up with how to create content. This is a really easy, simple way. I think it's great.
Yeah. I love this. If you've got another second, would you be
Yeah, of
able to
course.
bring up TikTok or your Instagram so you can say, "Oh, this was made in like the notebook," or like so we can kind of see
Sure.
what sort of stuff you are making because I think that's really cool as well. And like obviously it's letting you make things with different formats and all of that sort of stuff. So just be kind of cool just to have a quick look and see.
Yep, yep. And what I like about it is it gives us variety on here. So let me share. Oh, you got me back there. I think it's there. Yeah, there you go. So here's my TikTok, right? It's not much to look at. 726 followers. There's my little avatar, the consistent character. Now would be a good time to say Jay the AI guy official is the handle. I'll take you number 727. I see you coming. All right. Yeah, so here's my feed. I've got some stuff pinned, which are workshops that we do. We do Friday webinars, but here are some. Um, this was a video I made this morning that I recorded. But then in here you'll see these.
Welcome to this explainer. Let's explore
Ah.
infrastructure actually fuels your small business's daily growth.
Okay, so that was Notebook
Okay,
LM,
let's dive into this.
and you'll
How
see.
on earth does a massive
Hold
supercomputer
on.
actually boost
My colors are that teal, a red, white, and black, right? So it stays on brand, which I like about it. And then you'll see that every few posts, we've got them very distributed throughout. So usually there's a clip from a Friday webinar, something that I do like a what do you call it? Like a face to face video, whatever it is, just me record a selfie video. That was the word I was looking for. Selfie video, a webinar tip, or a Notebook LM video. And then every once in a while, something that happens in my life where I got to meet John Maxwell a couple weeks ago and this conference that I was at, a podcast that I was on. So that's kind of what we throw. But you'll notice that we're always just throwing in some newsworthy uh,
Yeah.
Gemini things, but a lot of it, yeah. And that's mostly been recently where we've been doing that, just over the last
Yeah.
couple weeks. But
They
yeah,
look
it just
great.
gives us something else. Thank you.
Mm. Yeah, they look really great. Like you can see like straight away, like they're so clear, they're easy to read. Like,
Yeah, they don't do well in the actual what do you call like the grid, they're kind of cut off because they're not all vertical, but when you open them, you
Welcome to
can
the
see them.
explainer.
So,
Today, we're
and on
yes,
mobile, I don't think the grid looks the same as on desktop. So,
that's so cool. Yeah, thank you for showing us that. I
thanks.
was like, oh, I'm so interested to see what the kind of output is that it's making.
Mhm.
So yeah, that is really, really cool. And you can use so much of that to elevate because it's basically making training videos or information videos that explain what you're doing in your niche, I suppose you could say. Like whatever the person who's watching this niche is, it's making videos that are explaining to your audience whatever it is you want them to learn without you actually having to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so much easier, and think about the head start it gives you too if you were looking for creative ideas and inspiration. Maybe you have this infographic, or maybe you have this video, or maybe you do the audio file, and there's so many other, maybe you know a little bit about how to edit these videos or synthesize them, or you have another AI tool that can take the audio file, something like 11 Labs or HeyGen, right? HeyGen's a good one, right? And you can just load in your script and say, create a more of a animated video, or maybe use it as a voiceover for something else that you have, or you can load a couple of images so get creative too. You can mix and match based on your skill set. There's probably people that are watching this that are like, oh, I know how to edit video, or I know how to edit audio, or I'm really good with graphics and I can put things together, or I'm an expert at CapCut, right? Take some of these things and put them together, right? Be creative. Don't stop there. Um, and and utilize as much as you can on that bootstrapped I'm a firm believer that if you can do it for cheap, do it for cheap, right? as long as you're not sacrificing the quality though, but when people find out that these videos are AI, especially the ones that we've done in the past where we've done like hey gen videos. I think there's I think let's see, I'll show you one. Eh, oh, that one's kind of, yeah, here's one, right?
You know what I always tell people?
Now the video
78%
pitch
of
is a little
customers
off,
buy from whoever responds first.
but my team member did that. He like put me in this studio, and that's not really me. Actually, I think that's a better looking version of me. But he put me in this studio, and we gave it a script, and we talked about our stuff, and like we used HeyGen to just create a video to put up to go through a topic, and it's close enough, right? A lot of times I say with AI, only my real close friends are going to be like, that was AI, but it looks so good now. The technology is there. So we'll throw some of these in here once in a while. Like if he's like, Jay, I need you to do a video and you're just not doing it, I'd be like, hey, Jen, paid subscription, go for it. And, but we have several like that too, but just be creative. Here's a whole bunch more. These are a whole bunch more that he did. Right. And he even got like my high level SaaSpreneur awards in the back on one. And I wish I looked like this. That guy's a stud. I don't know who that is, but anyway, yeah, fun stuff. Fun stuff.
It does look so cool. I love how cool that is and just how much fun you get to have with it. I think that's the big thing moving forward with AI now is people are learning how to have fun with their content and just be creative. So I love that. But thank you so much for your time today, Jay. Where can people find you?
Well, you got Jay the AI Guy official, but really the best way is jaytheaiguy.com. So just spell it all out. JayTheAIGUY, jaytheaiguy.com. Everything I have is on that site. It's kind of the hub of everything we do. We are white label, high level resellers. So you'll see things about a tool called Journey Builder that we sell. That's what it is. We do free webinars every Friday. And if you go to jaytheaiguy.com, there's a little section on webinars. You can register, always on implementation. We've done a couple on NotebookLM. We do some on Gemini. Next week, we're doing one on, next week, based on when people are watching this, I don't know what we're doing it on. But we do things on different tools all the time. So I try to keep away from just shiny objects. I'm always tying it in with, now go do this in your business right now. Right. And so I would say that. And then, of course, if you're on TikTok, number 727, Jay the AI Guy official is the handle there. But I'm on all of the socials. So just look me up, JVix, and you'll find me. And if you can't, you'll email me, jay@jvimobile.com, or just go to the website and connect with me.
Love that. Thank you so much, Jay. It's been a pleasure to have you here.
I appreciate it. Thank you.